I show 1 minute.
Really?
That might have been me, sorry.
You're excused.
I do show 9:30.
Okay, let's call to order the regular meeting of the Western Municipal Water District Board of Directors. Tammy, would you please conduct a roll call?
Thank you, good morning. Director Torres. Director Dinstedt. Director Roten.
Here.
Director Risby.
Good morning, I'm here.
Good morning, President Gardner.
I am here.
President Gardner, you do have a quorum today.
Okay, thank you. It's time for the Pledge of Allegiance, and this morning we're going to be led by Mike Mauser. Mr. Mauser.
Good morning, directors and fellow staff and members of the public. Thank you for having me. My name is,
Yeah, please.
sure. My name is Michael Mauser. I'm the Director of Information Services at Western. I've had the honor of serving here at Western for a little more than 8 years. But more importantly, today is my 25th wedding anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Your wife didn't want to come in and use this as a celebration for the 25th anniversary?
She's works in water as well, and so she felt it was our duty to be present.
Okay.
We are going to do something. I'm not bad at it.
Okay, it's time then for public comments. Tammy, do we have any public comments?
We do not. I received no written comments, and I see no request to speak on Zoom, and there's no one in the audience who has requested to speak.
Okay, thank you very much. Brings us to the consent calendar. Does anybody wish to pull any of the items for discussion? And if not, is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none. Tammy, if you do a roll call vote, please.
Director Roten.
Yes.
Director Risby.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye,
Thank you. The motion carries 3-0.
thank you. Mr. Miller, have we anything to add to the agenda?
Nothing to add today?
Okay, we're going to get out early. Our action items, the first is to approve a landscape demonstration project agreement with the Marchfield Air Museum for construction, operation, and maintenance of a water-wise educational landscape demonstration project.
All right,
Mr.
thank you,
Miller?
President Gardner. Ryan Shaw is going to go over the agreement for the board. This went to committee, and we're super excited to get to this point in time. We've been talking about this for a really long time with the board. We've been working on it a long time. We're happy to get here. We're happy to have Jamil Dada here with us today, and I think he would like to come up and say a few things after Ryan is done presenting the topic. So
We would
Ryan,
appreciate that.
Thanks,
it's all
Craig.
yours.
Good morning, President Gardner, members of the board. As always, I hope you're doing well. I will be brief because I'm sure you'd rather talk to Jamil about this exciting milestone and project that we've been working on for a number of years. So the item before you is to approve or authorize the general manager to execute a project agreement with the Marchfield Air Museum to construct, operate, and maintain a water-wise educational landscape demonstration at the Marchfield Air Museum. So we've been talking about this for a number of years. As I mentioned, this is a pretty major milestone, kind of outlines responsibilities and roles, which is, I'll give a couple highlights for this agreement today. You may recall back in 2021, feels like a long time ago, the board agreed to a memorandum of understanding, an MOU, that kind of kicked off this effort. So this is kind of the second step, big milestone. This is the actual agreement where we're committing to dollars, so to speak. So in terms of roles and responsibilities, commitment from Western side, we are committing to fund all of the construction of the project, as well as the first 5 years of operation and maintenance costs. After the 5-year term hits, Western and the museum will get back together and decide how we should fund the maintenance of the project on a go-forward basis. From the museum side, they're committing, obviously, to let us install the project, so that's important, step number one. But in terms of liability, after the project is complete, the museum will own all of the property improvements, plantings, signage, and any other related materials. So they're going to be the owner in terms of responsibility on a go-forward basis. I mentioned we'll help fund the O&M for the first 5 years, and beyond that, we'll figure something else out. The last highlight in terms of opportunities, I'll call it, the museum has graciously allowed us to have access to the site for educational events, workshops. Master Gardener, to use a simple example, we've hosted it here at this office facility for a number of years, but we do have the opportunity to utilize the facility on a go-forward basis. So those are kind of the key highlights in terms of roles and responsibilities and what's in the agreement before you today. As Craig mentioned, it's been a long time coming. We're really excited about it. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions. Actually, the one slide in front of you, I believe Tim at the engineering committee walked through the full presentation, but just to give you a layout of what the conceptual design looks like, it may be kind of hard to see on your screen, but we've got 3 sections, A, B, and C. We're really creative with our names. But yeah.
Is
Sorry,
there an
Gary.
acronym for that?
Yeah. And it's, if you recall, it's based on our landscapes with design, with styles, guidelines. There's 7 guidelines in the book. We are using 6 out of the 7. The only one we're not using is and you see it on the wall over here, right, is the tasty guidelines or style. We figured we didn't need people coming up picking fruit off of trees at the museum. So anyways, the museum was gracious enough to incorporate the design that you all approved several years ago. So with that, any questions? And then, of course, Jamil's here to have any comments or questions.
Great. Does anyone have questions for Ryan? If not, Mr. Dada,
Thanks, Ryan.
welcome.
Thank
The-
you all.
The only man I know who dresses better than Willie Brown.
You are all friends, and I appreciate the opportunity to come here and speak with you. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but I want to say a few things. But I also wanted to mention that I've been in this room many times at JPA meetings and talked, and it just feels weird to me that the names, I'm used to the commissioner names.
I'll wear both hats once in a while.
No, this is really your facility. And so, first of all, I'll open it up by asking if any of you have any questions.
We're good.
Brenda, come on.
So, thank you for being here, and I'm really excited about this partnership. This is something that I've been waiting for a very long time. We've had a number of years in our former signature garden, our 1-acre conservation garden over off of Alessandro at our old building. And they were hugely successful events that we partnered
Right.
with the public. You were in attendance at
Yeah.
some of those.
Been there many times. yeah.
Yes, and our Ladybug releases and all of our, Earth Night in the Garden and everything else. So I am really excited about sticking a shovel in the ground over there, having some big event so that we can turn the dirt on this finally and get this thing moving. So I'm pleased that you are our partner and that you guys stepped up and are willing to go into this adventure with us. And I'm looking forward to many years to come.
Thank you, and as are we. We're very pleased about this collaboration and partnership. Just a few things. I want to just talk about March, and I know all of you know about the base, but most people don't realize, well, I've been doing base support at March for 38 years. Colonel Bailey is my 17th wing commander. I'm the honorary commander for the wing commander, and he's my 17th. So, I was telling Tim and your team earlier that and my kids ask me this all the time, why do you do this? I mean, you have a full-time job at the bank, and their service deserves my service. So talking from the publicity, the population, and March, I sit on 2 Pentagon advisory boards, and I know some of you know I go to Washington, D.C. at least 6 times a year. But out of the 72 Air Force bases, March is the 3rd oldest. It's 107 years old. You provide the water. And even though it's a reserve base, what most people don't realize that it's larger than 25% of the active duty bases. Most reserve bases are just little things. This is massive. In fact, next week, Lieutenant General Healy, who's the commander of the Air Force Reserve Command, is coming here on Friday, September 6th. So this base is going to continue to grow. You know about the KC-46 is coming. That was something that I worked on for 5 years, testifying before committees, going to DC, sitting at Pentagon. I know Laura was with us a couple of those meetings with the Monday morning group, but I had been working on that for 5 years. So that's a $3 billion investment at March. And with everything that's going on in the Pacific, with some potential skirmishes with China or North Korea, the Pentagon has identified 3 bases that'll play an integral role if there is any kind of trouble in the Pacific, and March is one of them. The other one is Fairchild Air Force Base in Washington State, and then Travis Air Force Base in the Bay Area. So this base will continue to grow. They want to bring, there's already two active duty units here, and they want to bring additional active duty units. So you will see March growing. And along with that, the community grows. The other thing, and I know all of you know, out of the 3,109 counties in the US, Riverside County is the 10th largest. And the second fastest growing region in the country, according to the US Department of Commerce. But what most people don't know is that it's also the 7th largest county in the number of veterans that reside here. And 2/3 of the veterans in Riverside County are in Western Riverside County. So our region here, your region, is full of veterans. That's why our museum does so well. Last year, in 2023, our attendance was over 100,000 people. We've just grown. And then during the pandemic, we were so busy, we couldn't believe people were coming because most everything else was closed, and they could come and walk around and look at our airplanes. So we have 114 airplanes. And I just told Tim and your team that we are building a new hangar this year. The construction will start in the next 2 months. We have the funding for it already, so we're going to add a 3rd hangar, and we're building a brand new gate, a real gate. Right now it's just a chain link fence, but we were waiting for Van Buren to get done and the Hillwood project, the Target, to get done. So there will be a completely new look at the museum with the new hangar, your garden, new entry gate, new road. It's going to be very exciting. Our attendance continues to grow. And this is really a win-win for everybody. You get to do an amazing facility, no rent. We get a garden. And again, this is one of the busiest freeways in the county. So all the population that drives by here every day, and we're right there. So this museum is lucky to be in the location we're at. And when I'm traveling, people ask me about not just March, the base, but also about the museum, because we're sandwiched by the 3rd oldest Air Force base in the nation, and also what will become the largest national cemetery in the country. So in 10 years, the Department of Veterans Affairs is telling us that March will be bigger than Arlington, just by virtue of the population of California. Of the 40 million people in California, as you know, 20 million of them live in the 6 counties that make up Southern California. So more veterans are passing away in our region, and that's why they bought the golf course, and that'll just keep growing. So this is just gonna be amazing, and we're happy to be partners with you. I know all of you intimately really well and want to continue the relationship. Craig and Tim have been terrific, your whole team. And my last pitch is the air show is coming in April 12th and 13th. We've got the Thunderbirds again, and you always support it, and thank you. So I'll be reaching out to all of you because you already know I have to raise $200,000 for the air show, but Western always sponsors and also provide water. So thank you for that. And, you know, that's another way to promote our region. When we have 300, 400,000 people that come here from all over Southern California, they can see what a beautiful area we're in. And I'll shut up. Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions
Did
for
I-
Jamil? If not, Jamil, thank you. It's a great partnership.
It's a pleasure. Thank
Always
you.
great to work with you. And museum's a great place. Thank you
very
for
much.
providing a place for our.
Blessings to all of you, and thanks for doing the great work you're doing. And I know Craig and your team is also working with trying to mitigate some of the water issues we have at the base. I know congressional people are working on it. We're going to keep working on it for some federal funding as well. So thank you again. Blessings to all of you. And
Absolutely.
I'm waiting for, you're here. Come on.
Okay.
I have, you know, that's the only way to do all this stuff, is to do 2 or 3 things at the same time. I have to sign some checks for the museum. So I told Christy to just come here because I don't have time to go. And Fazia and Laura know this, but I just flew back at 1 a.m. this morning after being in Europe for 3 weeks
Wow.
and a 9-hour time difference. So I told
Okay.
them that if I doze off,
Oh, Lord.
We're not,
Oh
we're
my-
not nosing it.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We
Thank you,
we
Maria.
certainly
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
you. Thank
Thank you,
And-
Jamil.
And Mr. President, if appropriate at this time, I would certainly like to, and it would be my honor to move this item.
Okay, we have a
I will-
motion.
I will second.
Is there a second? We have a second. Any discussion? If not, Tammy, when the system is good, if you do roll call vote.
Director Dinstedt,
Aye.
Director Roten,
A heartfelt yes.
Director Risby,
Aye.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4 to
Thanks,
0.
Jamil.
thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
All right.
Okay, our next item is to consider awarding a professional services contract to MKN and Associates for the per and polyfluoroalkyl substances focused sewer rehabilitation project at March Air Reserve Base, Project W323. PFAS for short.
Well, I wanted to wait till Jamil got further away from the room, because now we're going to talk PFAS at the base.
Into the base.
Hopefully he's not lingering over there. But Ed, he did refer to it, some of the challenges that we do have with the base. So we're not waiting around for the base, and it's not the base. We're not waiting around for the Air Force. You know, this is on the federal side. This is the challenges that the local base and Jamil and Cindy Roth and the local commander have getting the big Air Force to participate. But I don't feel like we can wait around. There's a problem that has to be addressed. And so we're working hard to address it, and then we'll work with the base and everyone else that we have to recover funding. But with that, let me turn it over to Sonia. We had this presentation at Engineering Committee. She's back. She's going to do it again. She's happy to answer questions. Sonia, it's all yours.
All right, thank you. Good morning, President Gardner and members of the board. Today, I'm requesting your approval to award a professional service contract to MKN and Associates for a critical sewer rehab project at March Air Reserve Base, with a focus on addressing PFAS. So PFAS, as you know, are harmful chemicals found in many household products and are extensively used in aqueous film foaming foam, or also called AFFF, a fire suppressant extensively used at the base. Unfortunately, these substances have infiltrated the aging sewer system along Graber Street, leading to significant contamination. So this project aims to rehabilitate the sewer system to significantly reduce PFAS infiltration, thereby improving the quality of water entering the Western Water Reclamation Facility, WRF. Note that there's currently no EPA regulations for PFOS in sewer, however, but we know that this chemical is considered a hazardous substance under CERCLA. Staff proposes increasing the fiscal year 24-25 capital improvement and facilities plan by $500,000, bringing the total to $700,000 to cover the necessary design and engineering support. We also seek authorization for the general manager to execute a contract with MKN and Associates for $578,663. MKN and Associates was chosen for their expertise and comprehensive proposal. The estimated construction cost is $4,199,000, with up to $3,452,972 expected in grant funding from the fiscal year 22-23 congressionally directed spending authorization. The table on page 4 of the letter reflects the current ask of $700,000 and also shows the estimated total project cost, including construction, soft costs, and contingencies in the amount of $6 million. This project will be carried out in 2 phases. The first phase involves evaluating lift station 429 for potential abandonment or rehab. The second phase will focus on minimizing groundwater infiltration into the sewer system along Graber Street, where testing has revealed that PFOS levels is far exceeding the EPA advisory levels. In summary, this project is vital for reducing PFOS levels, ensuring high water quality, and adhering to regulatory standards. So staff recommends approving the budget increase and awarding the contract to MKN and Associates. Safa Kamangar with MKN is on the Zoom if there's any questions for him. And I thank you for your consideration and happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions? Do we have any public comment, Tammy?
We do not.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to move this forward.
Okay. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Tammy, when the system is ready, if you would do a roll call vote, please.
Director Dinstedt. Aye. Director Roten.
Yes.
Director Rizvi.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Very much. Our next item is to approve or consider approving an agreement between Western Municipal Water District and Pulte Home Company, LLC, for an off-site gravity sewer line for sewer service to the Highland Grove tract number 36730.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. This also was presented to the Engineering Committee. Ginger Hahn is here to present it again, but I really appreciate our Development Services team and Derek's leadership, because this is a good example of how we've really tried to think outside the box to come up with creative solutions to support our customers and to find ways to get things done, find ways to say yes to things instead of no. So this agreement is important for the development, for this development, and Ginger's going to give us the details.
Thank you, Craig. Good morning, esteemed members of the board and executive team. Today, we are recommending that the Board of Directors authorize the General Manager to execute an agreement with Pulte Home Company, LLC, for an off-site gravity sewer line to support the Highland Grove Tract 36730 development. Pulte is currently constructing the Highland Grove Tract 36730 project, which will create an additional 272 residential lots. 69 of these lots will cause a slight increase in our standard design flow rate within our existing sewer system. Given the construction schedule, these lots will be ready before the permanent gravity sewer line is installed. To manage this, the developer will construct a private lift station and force main to temporarily convey sewer service to Western Water's existing sewer system to the south until permanent infrastructure for conveyance to the north is complete. Key points of the agreement include that the developer will be responsible for building, owning, and maintaining the lift station for temporary sewer service. They're also required to secure the necessary easements for the gravity line or provide a $3 million bond within 60 days of the agreement's final approval. If the developer fails to secure the easements within 12 months of the tentative map being issued, Western Water may take over the process and charge the developer for these costs. Additionally, the gravity line must be constructed within 18 months of receiving the necessary permits and approvals and must be fully operational within 5 years of the agreement's start date. Any failure to meet these deadlines could result in a breach of the agreement. The agreement also stipulates that if construction isn't started within 3 years of the agreement's effective date, or if the developer goes bankrupt or fails to meet its obligations, Western Water will take full possession of the private lift station and the property. Furthermore, the developer must record a maintenance and liability agreement against all properties served by the lift station to cover operations, maintenance, and emergency plans. The execution of this agreement will ensure that the residents of the Highland Grove Tract will receive the necessary sewer services in a timely manner and supports Western's goal of providing superior service to our community. And on the line, we also have Patrick Lynham. He's the Director of Planning Entitlements for Pulte, and he's available to answer any questions. Thank you, and with that, I can go ahead and open up the board for any questions.
Okay. First, Tammy, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from board members? If not, is there a motion?
I will make the motion.
And the motion is to approve?
To approve. So-
Thank you.
That's a good
Just
motion.
for clarity.
I will second.
Okay, Tammy, if we could have a roll call vote, please.
Director Denstedt. Aye. Director Roten.
Yes.
Director Risby.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries 4-0.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ginger. Brings us to reports, Mr. General Manager. I'm sorry, General Counsel. General Counsel.
Mine's usually,
I know.
mine's just usually faster.
Hey,
I have nothing.
Well, actually, you do have something. You have a birthday today, and it's
Oh,
a
no.
milestone birthday. Happy birthday. But before you feel old, Joyce and I have been married more than a year when you were born.
It was a good year. Thank you.
Mr. General Manager.
all right. I got several things, as you may not be surprised. Mr. Ballinger led off well. It could be a while. Including a happy birthday for him. Happy birthday for
Yes.
him, of course. Well, the big news, and we did send the board an email, but SB 366 got through the Appropriations Committee unanimously.
Yay.
Yay. Huge sigh of relief. Enormous effort behind the scenes to make that happen. What did John F. Kennedy say? Things just don't happen, they're made to happen. And I want to thank Sarah and her work with Jenny Dudikoff at KP on our outreach campaign, and Danielle Blassett hiding from CMUA, and just an enormous effort. And maybe the happiest person was Ed Manning, our lobbyist from KP, who was the first one to hit the send button that it got through, because he did an amazing amount of work behind the scenes, including meeting with the governor's office and the assembly leadership and the chair of the Appropriations Committee, and it was really good. So super happy about that. So now what? It goes to the floor for a vote. That has to happen in the next week and a half, sometime in that. We don't know the calendar yet, so we'll send something out. This could be a Thursday night at midnight kind of thing.
Can I make a comment?
I guess, yeah, sure.
So I saw on the Assembly's agenda for yesterday, it did do its second read yesterday, so that's very good. I was texting back and forth with a member of the Assembly while they were up there on the floor, and so they're very positive about thinking that it's going to be passed, so I'm super excited about that. And I also forwarded the little notice of floor activity that you
Floor
sent.
alert, the floor alert.
The floor alert that you sent. I actually shared that with a couple of my Met directors and asked them to go ahead and contact their folks, which they were happy to oblige by, and was excited to see that Eastern as well was at Met's meeting yesterday and was excited to continue to push that item. So just wanted to give you a little,
Thank you.
a little extra.
That's great. Our supporters are armed and loaded with information. It's it's kind of the last little step that we have control over, and we're not going to let up till we get there. So I actually got a call from Cindy Roth this morning too. She's got her Army engaged, and she asked for some final talking points. So I gave those to her this morning. She's going to be reaching out to our delegation and a few others in the delegation to make sure that we have the support that we need. So it's looking pretty good. So we'll see where it goes, and then it has to get to the governor's desk for a signature. So I don't think we'll stop after. If we do get through the floor, we'll have a few more strategies to make sure that we can get a signature, or hope we can get a signature too. I just FYI, several of you were there, but I was on panel at BIA's 18th Annual Southern California Water Conference. So it was kind of fun to be up there with Eastern IUA and San Bernardino, talking about future water and challenges in water. I also, at that conference, was able to spend some time with Secretary Crowfoot, just to give a last little pitch for our bill. And actually,
Held him hostage in your vehicle as you drove.
let's not get into details. I don't want to tell our attorney anything about hostage taking. Not admitting anything.
How about your side job as an Uber driver?
Now that, well, I'll talk about, I do offer services to Uber people around, but I don't get paid to do that. So I'm a free Uber. Some of my staff takes advantage of that, my free Uber services. But so we talked to SB 366. Obviously, he's very close with the governor, so we were careful to point out that, or I was careful to point out that, we're trying to put the governor's vision for a future water plan for California into statute. Because right now, when he goes away in 2.5 years, 2 years, as a governor, so does his plan. And so we don't want that to happen. It's a good plan. It incorporates much of what the water managers see as the future plan. And so, we're hoping that encourages him to help sign the bill. So I wanted to make sure that Secretary Crowfoot knew that, because I know he talks to the governor all the time. And we talked about Carla Nemeth. And I had previously met with Carla Nemeth a month ago. And so he appreciated that she was up to speed. And so that was good. And then the other thing is, I wanted to share with him that, we have this strong group of water managers from across the state who were kind of the think tank that initiated this bill. And we don't want our group to go away. We want to continue to help the state. And so I offered our help to him as he continues to work to solve problems. And for those of you who were at the conference, you heard his statements, but he was not pulling any punches that he wants to see a Delta fix, and he wants to see Sites Reservoir, and so does the governor. And so it was nice to hear him talking about I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he said, we can't let such a tiny minority of California residents dictate water policy for the vast majority of California residents. We can't let that happen anymore. So that was great to hear. And I thought it was a very good conference. BIA does a very good job of picking interesting panelists, and they get some really good people, and I actually shared that with Secretary Crowfoot as I pitched him out the door to get to his flight. I thanked him for coming down, because, that's not something that we would get the Secretary of Natural Resources to come and speak at. So kudos to BIA to be able to pull that off to get him there. That's a heavy hitter for that conference, and I thanked him for doing that. Last week, you're aware that I was at the International Water Association's World Water Congress presenting. It was really fun. We had a really good presentation, I thought. We did audience participation where, we asked the audience questions and they could respond with their phones, and all the answers would pop up on the screen. And it was really fun. Heather Dyer from San Bernardino Valley, Bill Hazenkamp from Metropolitan, and Eddie Ocampo, who you may not know, but Eddie is the chair of the San Joaquin Blueprint. So that's an effort by Ag in the Central Valley to figure out how to move water forward. And I've worked with that group extensively to get them to be supporters of SB 366, and they've been great to work with. So he was the Ag perspective. Bill Hazenkamp was talking about the history of California water, and then obviously, what's happening on the Colorado River and on the State Water Project. So really good presentation, huge event. Toronto Convention Center. You can imagine Aqua, but put it at the LA Convention Center. It's just an enormous event. Med updates. So we had a Camp for Water evaluative criteria workshop. Ryan told me to tell him that he didn't like their evaluative scoring criteria, so I did that. Thank you, Ryan. I got high marks for expressing myself very negatively about their program. But this was unlike the task force, which is the board committee, subcommittee of the finance. This was the member agency managers workshop. So the board members weren't there. And so they have a new system. I don't know if it's called a system, a scoring process called Envision. Envision? I already blocked it from my memory because it was the most complicated thing I've ever been involved in my entire life, trying to figure out what this Envision scoring criteria was all about. And they gave us the presentation late afternoon, the day before the meeting, so staff poured through this thing, trying to figure out what the 55 slides were talking about. And the general managers basically threw it under the bus. And we said, what are we doing here? You have made this enormously complicated. Joe Mawad had my favorite comment I've heard at Met in a really long time. At the end of this 3-hour meeting, he said, well, I want to hand it to Met staff. You've done something I've never seen at Metropolitan before. You've coalesced all member agencies in one direction, which was against their scoring criteria. So we basically asked them to go back to the drawing board and start over. And it's very frustrating for me, for our staff. We're a year and a half into the camp process, and we're asking for them to go back to the start and try again. And we'll see where it goes from there. The other thing that's happening is through the task force, same task force, the business model has come up, and the board leadership has said, well, the task force is going to take on evaluating the business model and any refinements to the business model. With the interim general manager, Devin has been holding meetings with the member agency managers, and we expressed our concerns about evaluating the business model in this enormous setting of the board task force. And given the progress that has not been made by the camp process, we're very concerned that the business model will follow the same path. So Devin suggested that we form a subcommittee of the member agency managers to bring back some proposals to the task force. So that's what's happening. I was selected with Harvey De La Torre from MODOC, Dave Peterson from Las Vegas, Stacy Takaguchi from Pasadena, to plan the process to evaluate that. So the four of us came up with a process. We're going to have 2 full-day retreats of all 26 member agency managers. We're going to tear apart what the current business model is, come up with suggestions. The interesting thing, and I guess this would be Joe's second comment about sticking together with the member agency managers, we sent out a letter to the board leadership and to the interim general manager, And all 26 member agencies signed the letter without making one edit to the letter that we generated about the process and what our goals are. So we're serious about this. And the board leadership gave us till November to come up with a solution, or the board leadership would take over the process. And we were adamant that this will likely take a year to a year and a half, and we'll come back with a report in March. There's no way we'll have anything in November. And so that's where we stand right now. And the board chair said, okay, let's do this right. So it's going to be a long effort. I'm going on in great detail about something that hasn't even kicked off yet, but I think it's important that the board know that we're not alone in this, and the member agency managers all recognize the weight of what we're doing right now, and it's time for a change in the process up there, and the managers want to have a voice in changing the process up there and what's happening. So that's my Met update. CMUA update. As you know, I'm the board president, which unfortunately puts me in the lead of dealing with the retirement of our executive officer, Barry Moline, up there. He announced this a little while ago, but we're going through the recruiting process for a new executive director. So if any of you have friends that would be really good executive directors for CMUA up in Sacramento, tell them now would be the time that they should hurry and put their applications in. So we'll be going through that process of evaluation of those candidates over the next month. Last thing is yesterday we had a really fun lunch. Michael Hadley. Don't worry, this is good, Michael. Don't look scared. This is a good thing. We've kicked off our next Leadership Academy. So we had lunch yesterday with the next class, which is Chris Gray from WR-COG, Mark Long, who is new to UCR, but he's the Dean of the School of Public Policy, Valerie Backus from the Murrieta Valley Unified School District. Jesse Ramirez was not able to join us yesterday, but he's from the League of Cities. Jenna Minwary from Esri, and also a member of the PIC group here locally and a customer of ours. So she actually had a lot of customer questions. And then we also added a gentleman from the Mission Grove Neighborhood Association, Lewis Allen. And this is part of our community outreach program. And, we were sitting down and, Michael and Sarah and I try and come up with a list of who should be in this program. And I suggest, well, why don't we try and get some of our community leaders that we could add to this program? So Michael reached out to him and he agreed to be in it. So it's good. So we kicked that off, went really well. Had a 2-hour presentation and discussion. We had to cut it off. They had lots more questions. So good group. So with that, happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions for Craig? Okay.
That was a lot of ground.
That was.
All over the place. And I'm out of here right after this board meeting because there's a board meeting for Urban Water. I'm on the board, so I got to hustle down there. I'll miss half the board meeting, but hopefully I'll get a sandwich at the end of it. And then their conference goes through Friday.
Good.
Friday at noon. And it's an excellent agenda, so looking forward to that.
Okay. Brings us to directors' reports and requests. First, SAPA. SAPA took a couple of actions at their meeting yesterday. Director Denstedt will like the first one. They accepted the final work for the landscape irrigation and refreshing around the SAPA building, their little demonstration garden. And it had a change order, a reduction in cost of $19,198. So that is now the Denstedt change order. I thought you would like that one. We made some relatively minor adjustments to reserves in the various brine line accounts, just moved a few dollars. It's all within the reserve guidelines that had been previously established. And let's see. That was the only action items. We did get a nice update on SARCUP, the Santa Ana River the Conservation and Conjunctive Use Program. Ryan did a really good job on behalf of Western. Pointed out that we have, even though everything is not ready yet, we have over 4,000 acre-feet in storage already, which is about 2/3 of what has been put into storage. Orange County has got a bit in, but we're ahead, as we should be. So,
And-
well done, Ryan, thank you.
I will, well, Ryan had a great presentation because Ryan's doing the majority of the work on SARCUP and has been for the last decade. So this has been a long time coming and a huge effort. What's really important about that, it's great, and we have that water in there because of you guys.
Right.
Right. You gave me authority to go out and find water and do that. And so, we got our marching orders from the board to do that. But what's really important is we got an enormous amount of money from the state, and we have to make sure that we show compliance with why they gave us that money. And so putting water in that storage account is a huge success because now we can prove that their money went to a good investment, and we can answer those compliance questions very honestly and very proud to say that money went to a good use. So it's great we have it's like a twofer for that. We're parking water for a rainy or a dry day, but we're also proving to the state that they made a good investment.
Great. And I will just point out that when I was complimenting Ryan, he was pointing at Josh. So thank you both. Where am I? Metropolitan.
Yes, very busy day at Met. So, and I left it in the car. I should have grabbed it. It was the binder that staff printed out for me. I carried around Metropolitan, and everybody asked me what the heck I was carrying, and I said, it's our agenda. What are you talking about? Nearly 900 pages. Yeah. And staff printed up front and back, so it wasn't as big, but yeah, I was carrying like a 4-inch binder, and got my workout moving from room to room with that. So thank you for that. It was a very active board meeting for sure, and several different committees. The biggest one being that we received the new assessed values for our voting shares, which was accepted yesterday. And I printed out all the sheets to just talk about that for just a second. This is what we expect and will expect for several years to come, I'm sure. But with Riverside and San Bernardino County added together for the Inland Empire, we had nearly just over a 15% increase in assessed value compared to Los Angeles, which was only 4.8% growth, and Orange County was 5.3%, and San Diego County Water Authority was 4.7%. So that just shows you where everybody is going and what the assessed values have really reflected for the last year with all of the development that we see that's coming out here. So our percentage certainly went up for those 3 agencies. A couple of others went up. West Basin went up, and Fullerton went up. So those agencies increased while LA, San Diego went down in their percentage of share vote. And it was a small percentage, but it just shows you the trend of kind of where we're going, where all of this area is going up, and the ones that are landlocked are remaining either flat or decreasing in value comparatively to us. So that will be our voting share for the next year until we get the evaluations for next year. We did welcome a new director that is replacing Judy Abdu, who is now been replaced by Santa Monica. And Mark Gold was accepted and introduced as the new director coming in for that agency. So he wasn't able to attend in person. He was on Zoom, so hopefully we'll be have an opportunity to actually meet him in person. Our two member agencies were given a presentation for honoring them for the Emmy Award that Rancho received for being a Water Hero campaign. And then Elsinore Valley was honored for their American Water Works Association 2024 Hydrant Hysteria competition, which they came in first. So, and then going through, everything was approved on the agenda. There wasn't anything that was out of turn with any of that. The other thing that will be highlighted was we are keeping on budget, which will make our finance, our CFO very excited about, because we voted in the ad valorem that was predicted for when we passed the budget back in, April, May. And that held fast, so the numbers were turned out, what it would be if we didn't accept that ad valorem that we assumed when we passed the budget. So that all stayed in place, so that was all good. And then the other thing that we did not get to on the agenda, because our day kind of went a little long and it was longer than anticipated, was we did not have a discussion in open session over the compensation recommendations for the direct reports for general counsel, for the general auditor, and for the ethics officer. We did have significant communication in closed session, which I will not be able to discuss with this agency until I get permission to do so, over the San Diego litigation. I will say that I am hopeful, and I will leave it at that. Other than that, everything else was continue to see more of activity that's going on. We have meetings next week for there is a special board meeting that has been scheduled for next week to discuss, along with the joint executive committee meeting for next Tuesday, which will, I anticipate, come with some information regarding the administrative leave that the general manager has been placed on. And so that will also be heard in closed session, so I won't be able to reveal that, but that's what we are anticipating, that it will be an interesting day and probably a long discussion. So we'll deal with all of that. And then Camp for Water is also next week, as Craig mentioned. And then they're also having a special ag listening session over at Eastern that they're hosting on behalf of Metropolitan with our ag customers on the 29th. I believe it's at 8:30 in the morning to 10:30. It's expected to be a 2-hour session. I believe you can watch that either virtually on Zoom or you can be in person on that. And so you are certainly welcome to attend that if you so desire. And then lastly, I will go ahead and say Michael and I will be, I'm trying to get his attention. Michael and I will be doing the 3-day trip to the State Water Projects. I was given that. I will be sharing that trip along with my Anaheim director, with Steve Fessel. So I really look forward to that trip with him. We will be doing a 3-day trip up to the State Water Projects in October. And so if you have suggestions of folks that you would like to have considered for attending that trip, we should have a number of seats that we've landed on, probably 10, 12, 16? Oh, okay, 16. Oh, love it. Okay. So if you have people for us to consider or take a look at and do that suggestion, I'm happy to accept those, send them over to Tammy, send them to Craig. Michael will compile a list, and then we'll go down the list of who is available to attend that trip. Obviously, if they have been on that trip before, we'd like to take new folks, and they wouldn't be eligible for a second go-around. But anybody that's gone on the Colorado River trip and has not attended the State Water Projects trips, it's kind of a nice way to fold all of the picture together. So anybody that's been on that trip, we certainly would want to pick them up if they haven't gone on the State Water Project trip. So with that, I think that concludes my metropolitan update for today.
Okay, thank you very much. Chino Basin Water Master meets tomorrow. Significantly, there was a disagreement from some members of the appropriative pool over money budgeted and spent for Optimum Basin Plan, Optimum Basin Management Plan update. The trial court decided in favor of Water Master's action to approve that and go forward with the work. It was appealed. The appellate court released a tentative decision yesterday upholding the trial court decision, but I think most significantly, and maybe something that will have an effect on future, some would argue, frivolous litigation at Water Master, they awarded court costs to the successful parties. So there will be some members of the appropriative pool who are going to be paying some fairly large dollars. So I'll have a report on what Water Master does tomorrow. We will get a report. The new general manager, Todd Corbin, is going to present his 100-day plan. He is, strangely, finishing up his first 100 days on the job. So looking forward to what that is. I haven't seen it yet. And things are perking right along. Chino Basin DeSalter.
They meeting on September 5th, and I think you're covering that for
I
me.
can.
But I will send you, I thought I'd send something, but I might not.
You may have.
I will be
One of us will be
out
there.
of state, actually, yeah.
BRCRA,
We'll meet end of September.
WRCOG.
WRCOG, we're just having some discussions over General Assembly. We already are planning for our keynote speaker, and so we're looking to firm up a contract with a potential speaker, and that will be coming to the executive committee to discuss and get a vote on that. So I will reveal secret information after it's discussed at committee.
After it's no longer secret.
That's right.
Sarah.
It was canceled this month. We are planning to go on a quarterly meeting, so I think it'll be in September. I will keep you guys posted.
Great. Aqua Region 9.
Aqua Region 9, we did have the Region 9 program. It was a hugely successful program, well attended. It was sold out. We got great feedback from everybody that was in attendance over workforce development, and I just got some really positive comments. We have done some really, great programs that we're getting some great reviews just from Aqua and other regions, and so some people are really kind of modeling after us. So we're in a good position, and I'm really thankful for my colleagues who sit on the board with me for Region 9, and obviously we're looking forward to Fall Conference, which will be in December, and look forward to all of you being there.
Great, thank you. Director's comments and reports. We'll start with you, Director Roten. I think you have something for us.
Well, I do, but before that big reveal, just a couple things. The August 8th was the Riverside County Women's Leadership Conference. Very well attended. It was really fun. If any of you follow me on Facebook, you saw a group shot with our staff members that were there and Director Rizvi and I. It was just it was a great camaraderie and just a very informative and uplifting. There was a very serious topic on human trafficking, and I actually was asked afterwards why in the world we included that. This is supposed to be an encouraging conference, and I'm like, yes, but it's also supposed to be an informative conference. So, and the person that had mentioned it to me actually didn't stay to hear the testimony of the young lady who had been trafficked and had come out of that lifestyle, and she was very moving. So anyway, it was a really good event. And I did enjoy the BIA Southern California Water Conference. It was very good. I attended for the first time the Corona Chamber Legislative Action Committee lunch. And what drew me to that was Kevin Bash from Norco was speaking. And he is, gosh, he's such a wealth of information historically. And he just, I mean, really, he's Mr. Norco. I don't know why we call him anything else. But so it was very well attended. They said it was like their largest attendance they've ever had. And I have to think it was because of who they chose for that speaker. I also attended my first Eastville Chamber mixer at the new, and I didn't write down the name of it. It starts with an S. Something Bridge Suites, the new hotel that just opened in Eastville, and they're claiming it as the tallest building in Eastville, which I guess it really is. But I was very curious about it, wanted to see what amenities were there, and they do right now have a small-ish conference room, but they're going to have a much larger one available, so it might be something that in the future we can utilize. And just the nicest people, and it's all suites, and we got to have a tour and see the rooms, and it was an exciting addition to our community. And they are opening a rooftop deck and restaurant that is going to have a Michelin chef. So it's going to be fancy. So that was exciting. Let's see, and probably, I was able to attend the 104th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment, women's right to vote. This was an event that the last time they had it was in 2019. We were supposed to have a big 100-year celebration in 2020, and of course we all know what happened in 2020. So this was the first time back after that, and that was a really enjoyable meeting. We got to hear from Jackie Casillas from Corona City Council, as well as, and forgive me, I'm not remembering her name, but she's on the Moreno Valley City Council, and kind of a storytelling with their experiences and their experiences as moms and council members and being an elected official, and it was very inspiring. And we had a couple of other speakers as well, including Supervisor Spiegel. So it was a nice evening, and just before they did a kind of sort of unannounced, I happened to find out about it, but they did a little march out front of the Riverside Women's Club where they went out on the street corner and they had some signs and, for women's suffrage and get the vote out and that kind of thing. So it was very well planned and enjoyable evening. So the big reveal. So at the last Chino DeSalter Authority meeting, Armin from Jurupa Community Services District showed this video at the end. JCSD has installed their very first heli hydrant, and they have 2 more coming in Jurupa Valley and 1 in Eastville that are already been planned, and the locations have been chosen. This very first one, JCSD did all on their own as far as funding, and it's an amazing, to me, it's kind of a no-brainer sort of a project. It's a win-win-win. And I happened to hear about it at an aqua conference, 2 years ago, and shared the information with them, and they ran with it. And I've just been so excited about it. And now I heard that San Gorgonio Pass Water District is putting in 4 of them in their service area. And they apparently were able to get grant funding to do that. So that was an exciting development. But I have a little video that Armin shared and thought you would like to see it in case you aren't familiar with what a heli hydrant is.
At Jurupa Community Services District, We pride ourselves on being regional leaders in the services we provide. Every day, JCSD provides essential services for our community, and our commitment to innovation and community safety is stronger than ever through JCSD's Helihydrant Project, designed to bolster our community's fire response and public safety. The Helihydrant is a game changer in our emergency response strategy and is the first of its kind in the Inland Empire region. Each helihydrant is a 15-foot wide, nearly 10,000-gallon tank designed to expedite the water collection process for firefighting helicopters.
Each helihydrant is a little different. This particular one takes about 7 minutes, and it'll fill up to the top.
Situated strategically in fire-prone areas, these helihydrants are constructed to integrate seamlessly with JCSD's existing water systems. When a fire breaks out, the JCSD helihydrant quickly fills when activated by an approaching firefighting helicopter, providing a valuable water source that saves critical time in the battle against fire. When a fire emergency erupts, firefighters can rely on JCSD's helihydrant to be ready for action.
And allows for us to get water on the fire's edge as quickly as we can.
In the summer of 2024, we celebrated a major milestone with the inauguration of the first JCSD helihydrant in service, located in Harupa Valley's Country Village neighborhood, helping firefighting efforts in the area.
We initiated a discussion with CAL FIRE and said, hey, can we look at doing a project like this over in JCSD area?
Through forward thinking and long-term planning, the JCSD Helihydrant Project will install a total of 4 helihydrants across JCSD's service area in Eastvale and Harupa Valley, ensuring robust coverage and protection for our region. With the helihydrants, JCSD is not just helping fight fires, we're building resilience and safeguarding our community's future for generations to come. To learn more about our innovative projects, programs, and community initiatives, visit jcsd.us.
I don't know. I just can't say enough about this concept, but I wanted to thank you, Craig, because you brought to my attention that the last Aqua magazine, which I had not looked at yet, has, I think it's a 2-page spread on its, I think helihydrant is possibly a patented name for a particular type of one, and there's another name of the one in the Aqua magazine, but it's the same concept. And I think these are going to catch on. Yorba Linda, I believe, was one of the first cities. They did 2 of them. You might remember they had that horrible fire a few years back where they lost, I don't know how many homes and on the hillside. So these can play such a role in areas. If you think about Harupa Valley, we have the Harupa Hills, we have the Harupa Mountains, which are in the summer, they're just dry brush waiting to just, go up. So
And
these
the
are,
river bottom.
and the river bottom too, yeah, absolutely. And yes, those helicopters can draw from, like sometimes they'll draw from golf courses, or I've heard even swimming pools. But these locations, where the ones are in Harupa Valley and Eastvale, have been specifically chosen by CAL FIRE with JCSD working together to have all the, everything in the right places to make these really strategic. So not that I hope they get a lot of use, but they're there when they're needed. And I feel kind of like a mom. I'm so proud of JCSD for doing it. It just, they did a good job, and they're doing a good job. So I wanted you all to be able to share in that.
Okay. Director Dinstedt.
Yes, I want to backtrack on something just for a second with Metropolitan. So we did receive, and this was done in open session, so this is all part of the court's record at this point. The court did, in fact, over the San Diego versus Metropolitan litigation, over the exchange agreement, the court did find, in fact, that Met was the prevailing party, and we are entitled to legal fees and costs. And so now we are going through the calculations to be able to do that. So if you recall, that was a a win that we found out about a while ago. It was a significant dollar amount. I think it was 334 million on the win for the exchange agreement.
Well, that was not on legal fees, though.
No.
That was just-
That was just on,
That was based on a San Diego claim
correct.
that was denied.
Correct. So this more to come on this as we do calculations and everything, but this is definitely a box checked off in the win column for Metropolitan on those. So more to come as we continue to have discussions with San Diego County Water Authority and hopefully walk away from all of this litigation and put it to rest. So we're very, like I said, I am hopeful.
Okay.
And then the other things that I wanted to do was I attended the Temescal MAC meeting. Those of you that may or may not be aware, Jan Lee passed away actually at the last meeting. She had a medical emergency during mid-speech and collapsed and was tried to have medical aid rendered by one of the members in the audience who I understand was a registered nurse, and they were unable to revive her. So she passed, and obviously there's some significant healing that needs to take place. So many people were in attendance at that during that incident and are still recovering from seeing that incident and somebody actually passing literally before their eyes. There is going to be a celebration of life for her down in the Temescal Valley, and my understanding it will be on August the 31st. It's going to be a sunset celebration of life, and I believe it's going to start around 4 o'clock, but I will confirm those informations, and if anybody is interested in attending that, I'm sure I can get more information if you'd like to attend that. And then next week, I'm really excited to go down to the ribbon cutting for the garden down at the library for the Pollinators Garden. Some money that we got for the city of Marietta to do that garden down there at the library facility. So I'm really excited to be in attendance and have that on my calendar for next week and look forward to that. Other than that, I am all done.
Okay, Director Rizvi.
All righty. As Laura mentioned, I attended the Women's Conference in Corona. It's every year. It's such an uplifting conference, but this time seeing the staff and, having the staff there was really, really awesome. It was a great, I didn't know they were going to be there, so it was a very good surprise to see them there. But a great conference, very uplifting. There were some serious topics, and I think they are needed. Even if those stories are, even they're hard as it is, they're uplifting of how women have survived, and what inspiration they can become for other people. So it was great. And as you all know, that I am a board member, a newest board member of CASA, California Agencies for Sanitation, and I will be attending a board strategy retreat in Santa Barbara this Sunday and Monday. I will be back Tuesday, and I will report from there. Other than that, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I did go to the BIA Water Conference. It was everything that Craig said it was. Just one observation from it, the Cadiz project, which I think we all know is out there, has changed their marketing. Sarah, you will appreciate this, I think. Previously, they had just been a water supply, potential water supply. We've got a big aquifer with a bunch of water in it. We're going to pump it out and make a lot of money. Now they are a water bank. And they are talking about ways to bring water in wet years and put it back in the aquifer and pump it all the time. And they've changed their investors. There are some Native American tribes that are now investing. She was on a panel, Susan Kennedy, their chair, was on a panel talking about water supply issues, and people were asked, what do you need? How can we help? And she said, we don't need anything. So, which I thought was rather bold, and we'll see if it actually ever happens. But interesting marketing change, and I think why is on their part.
Problem to have.
Yeah. So, and that is everything I had. Does anybody have any requests for future agenda items? Okay, we have some information items in the package. Our next meeting is September the 4th, right here at 9:30 in the morning. And we will adjourn in memory of Jan Lee. Thank you for that, Brenda. Thanks, everyone.
Recording stopped.